I love my Impreza. A lot. In fact, I love Subarus in general quite a bit, but what I really don't like is this groovy 6-disc CD changer radio head unit thing. It's so 2007, and I rarely use any of the buttons on it. So today, we're going to replace it with something a bit more of the now. A touchscreen radio head unit thing. This specific model so happens to be a Jensen VX7020. True, there are plenty of better units out there, but there are also much worse ones too. If you want to see a review on this unit, let me know in the comments. While we are working on my Subaru today, this video is intended to be a general guide to a head unit install. All cars will follow the same basic procedure. The first thing we need to do is remove the ground wire from the battery and tap the brakes just to let the taillights drain any residual stored energy. Every car is going to be slightly different to remove the trim, but usually you can pull everything apart with your hands and a Phillips screwdriver. Check out some car-specific forums online if you're having any issues finding your way in. It's always better to take your time rather than risking breaking something expensive. When you finally remove the screws holding in the old unit, you'll have a series of connectors to unplug, and then she'll be free to come out. Again, check out the forums if you're confused. Double-din aftermarket radios will typically come with threaded hole patterns to fit a variety of cars' OEM brackets. However, a lot of vehicles will need you to buy a model-specific mounting kit in order to finish the install properly. Older Japanese cars are typically a standard double-din head unit to begin with, so my job is just a straightforward swap. The process of replacing your radio can be daunting to some people, and that's usually because of the wiring involved. For any of you watching, do yourself a favor and just buy your car-specific wiring harness adapter. I got mine from Metra. It plugs directly into the factory radio harness and is one half of the conversion harness you will be making. The other half of the harness comes with your radio, and all the wires on each half are color-coded to match up. All you have to do is match the wire colors properly and you're set. Really, that's all it is. I chose to solder and heat shrink all of my connections, but if you don't own a soldering iron, crimp connectors are your next best bet. Never use morettes or simply twist and tape unless you want to fire. As much as I wanted to trust that all of the wires were correctly colored, I'm a bit OCD and took the time to do some research into each harness to confirm that they were correct. Being satisfied that everything was indeed fine, I added heat shrink to one side of the harness and began the process of soldering. The new radio harness has a few wires which do not exist on my car's harness, such as ones for steering wheel buttons and a backup camera. But as I have neither, we can ignore those. The pink parking brake wire is supposed to be connected in a way that certain screen functions are disabled unless you are stopped with the e-brake on. However, if you have a passenger who could easily enter a new address into the nav while you are driving, why should you have to pull over? To bypass this, I simply soldered the pink wire to the black earth connection, and it works perfectly. Some radios may require a switching bypass circuit to be added instead, but you can find those on eBay. After finalizing the wiring, I covered it with split loom and zip tied it into place. We'll quickly test fit it into the hole to make sure all the wires will fit, and then we can install the GPS antenna and microphone. I used some double-sided tape to place the GPS antenna on top of my HVAC ducts. This keeps it right below the dash skin and out of sight. Reception seems to be good too, which is great. I put the mic right on my steering column, as it's the easiest for routing and is directly in front of my face, so the audio quality should be good. I haven't had a chance to test it yet though. At this point, we are ready to plug everything in. There are two small screws that hold part of the DVD player in place during transportation. They must be removed prior to installation. I've seen many people complain that the player in their unit is broken, when really, you simply forgot to remove those two little screws that have several labels to remind you. In all honesty though, I forgot to take them out myself, so don't feel too bad. Now I'm not sure if this is just a Subaru problem, but our cars have issues with learned idle conditions after the battery has been disconnected. The electronic throttle body needs to stay open partially after you let off the accelerator, otherwise the engine could stall. But how far to stay open is something the engine must learn over time. So when you disconnected the battery, the ECU loses this information and you may experience the car almost stalling for the first day or two afterwards. This is normal and does sort itself out, but it can be a tad startling, especially when you nearly lose power brakes and steering. Awesome. So reassemble the dash in the reverse of how it all came apart and you're set. After you realize you forgot to install the radio antenna and have to take it all apart. Again, now you can enjoy having a piece of more current tech in your slightly less than current automobile. I've now got Bluetooth for calling and music, a DVD player, USB in, and a GPS among other features. This radio unfortunately doesn't come with maps of Canada, however it uses IGO Primo database, so it's relatively simple to buy new maps of your country and then load them onto the microSD card in the front of the radio. I haven't done that yet, but may post an update video sometime down the road. That's it for this video. I hope it helps you out, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll try to help out if I can. This channel has just recently undergone some big rebranding, and I'm really excited for the future video possibilities. If you enjoy cars, fabrication, modification, and build series, consider subscribing, and we'll see you next time on Fanatik Builds.